Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a Help with Harrz episode where I review subscribers' gameplays to hopefully make them better Call of Duty players. If you want to submit a gameplay of yourself, it's completely free. Obviously you can leave a super like down below if you want. All you need to do is complete the submission down in the link below, post a video up to YouTube or Twitch, put the link in the form and send it over. Today we're reviewing Iggy Household with a little bit of a focus on how to make better decisions. So if you always feel like you're doing something quite wrong, you're not quite making the best decisions you can be, I'm going to hopefully try and intervene in that process and make you guys a little bit more aware of what you're trying to do and the decisions you're trying to make and the plays and the choices you make that eventually lead to get more wins and eventually then rank up quicker. So we're going to read through the form, look at the gameplay, and then we're going to do a little bit of a conclusion at the end where we go to a couple of tips that the player can sort of isolate and hone in on, and then a expected rank at the very end. So, as I say, we'll read through this. Their current rank is Diamond 1. They're a PC gamer as well. They didn't play MW2, so this is their... I'm not sure if they play Vanguard, perhaps I should include that in the form. But this player is a fairly active guy in the, or lady, sorry, in the Discord. So if you guys want to feel free to join the Discord, you could do so as well. So shout out to this player for submitting their gameplay. But I do notice these guys nattering on in the Discord, which I love to see. As far as settings are concerned, pretty standard and decent settings. I have absolutely nothing to say about them whatsoever. They play on a wireless headset, so it's got to be a fairly decent headset for it to be wireless, probably higher range. Battle Beaver as well, so they're playing with either like the little clicky buttons. Yeah, and let's see what they want me to real focus on. As I say, it's going to be choices, but let's have a look what they've written. What I could be doing better in terms of decision making. I'm always second guessing myself, and sometimes I don't think I actually know what I'm doing. I have a nice understanding of spawns, but I feel like I need that little bit of guidance to push me from the diamond rank and to the higher ranks. I feel like my gun skill is pretty good most of the time, though I always get caught off guard in terms of timings. I'd like to know what I'm doing wrong and what decisions I can make that are better than what I'm making now. Perfect. That's exactly what we're going to be focusing on in this video. Let's see what we can do. So let's get into the gameplay. So we're going to see what opening routes we take here. As far as FPS looks like, we've got a quite low FPS there, but that's absolutely fine. I'm wondering whether that's because we're recording or something, but I'm interested to know what your settings are, because if you are literally playing at 90 frames per second, you're getting worse frames per second than you are for on console. So I'm intrigued as to what settings you've got, or whether it's just a PC limiting you. Either way, it is what it is. But if there's things you can change to better your FPS, let me know. But yeah, make sure your settings are right for number one. Obviously, if you have any comments back to me, you can comment down below, or message me in the Discord. I do see you in there. So as regards to the opening route, I really don't mind this. The problem with a slow route looking right first for this long is that they can be already at the point. So as you're getting to, I'm going to pull out the little mini map here. As they, they'll spawn back here. If someone does decide to run and get to the point like this way, you've taken a lot of time, running around like that, and then you hesitate here. And as you can see, these lines are fairly equal distance. So by the time you get here and you pause here, they're already still hitting P1. So just be very careful that if your main goal here is to get the info on anyone crossing this area here, then you're not going to be able to do that with that much of a slow play. But yeah, we'll see what we can do from there. We'll see how we play this. So nice. We get the spot there, so that's fine. It wasn't too bad at the end of the day. Maybe they were a little bit delayed in getting to that point themselves. And I don't mind that. So what you've done here, you've slid out to check this heady. And first of all, I don't like the fact that you have no cover. If there was someone there and, I get you check it. If there's someone there, you're dead. What I'd like to have seen you do is use this cover up here where my cursor is to check this heady, if you know that's what you're going to do. And then from there, you can progress to like this heady here or the one on the other side. But what you do, you're sort of left completely open. If you see you've got cover all around you, left and right, but yet you decide to stand right in the middle and leave yourself completely open to this gunfighter who's sort of waiting for you here. Now, there's a couple things I want to add to this. The first thing being, and I want you to really understand this, is that when you're moving to a progressive area, a progressive aggressive area, you want to make sure that you've got plenty of cover. So you've just checked two key spots which they're likely to be without any cover whatsoever when there's cover available. So you want to use the map to your advantage. You want to see, you want to find a head glitch and make sure that you at least have some cover. And there's so many ways you can do that without using just these head glitches. You know, even a shoulder would have been absolutely fine. And then the second thing is we have a nade and a stun, and it's been a while since we've realized they're on the point. So if I just rewind this back a couple of seconds, that guy gets on the point, and you can almost tell it's that person, because, or at least maybe someone else, but you can sort of gather by the time it took them to run up there, they've got on the point. You should be using your stun and nade. Your teammates aren't on the point, so you're not going to get a team stun or a team nade. You can bounce off this, either any of these darker areas here, and it will bounce into the hill from where you are. And just using that as entry is always a must, especially when you've got a little bit of time. So it's quite rare to have a couple people chow this. And by the way you chow out like this, I get the feeling you don't think anyone's here in the first place. So yeah, you just stun a nade when you're trying to aggress towards a point, and then when you do get to a position where you want to check areas, use the cover that's available to you. So it's a unfortunate gunfight, but I personally think you're always winning that. You're always losing that, sorry. I'm not going to focus too much on spawns here because you said you're pretty decent at spawns, but I will highlight any areas I do see when you're doing what you're doing. Okay, you've got a stun and a nade in your back pocket. Let's see it used. That's number one thing I want to see that I haven't seen enough of yet in this video. Okay, I don't mind this. So the position you've got is okay. You know there's a player here. You're not too concerned about you because you've got a teammate who's literally right there. So you don't really, you're not tweaking too much. So you know they're either behind point, and the fact that they've not chowed out at this point means they're probably not going to. So you decide to take a little bit of an aggressive approach, get the first kill. Now we're instantly looking for the second kill here. So let's see how we do that. Unfortunately, you do get stunned. Again, a stun or a nade there would have stunned them. I think you die mainly because of the stun that hit you initially. You'd probably been a little bit better positioned if it weren't for that stun. So yeah, again, if you're trying to break a hill and your teammates aren't on it and there's no threat of team nading or stunning, just use it. It's free. You get it every time you die. You should rarely die with both of them in your back pocket. Now, yeah, as you're fully aware, there's limited time left to this hill. You're playing a nice little off angle to support your teammate on the hill. I like this. The only thing I'm hoping you're aware of is how long's left on the hill, and that means they're going to be soon rushing around the right-hand side towards pool, engaging in your teammates in the right. Don't mind that. Nice stun check. That's nice. And that's 4 down. Okay, you've gathered they're not spawning here. You get caught out a little bit. So I'm not sure how confident you are in your spawn knowledge, because what I'm thinking from here is that you've just pre-aimed the back spawn, you've got nothing, and they get 4 down, and you're therefore a little bit less confident in your readings. So you've read that and you're like, okay, great, no one's there. I'm clearly wrong in reading that maybe. And then when you go to read this next play, which is the exact right read, you don't quite get it absolutely correct. Now, when on this map you're on P2, which I'm going to highlight just in a second, there's a spawn here and there's a spawn like back here somewhere. Now, a lot of the time, especially when it's this early in the hill, unless you're playing a team who just don't know what they're doing, you're going to have a team just constantly flood middle or flood the point itself. But considering you're playing against a decent team and the fact that there's so much longer left on the hill, you may as well hold a pre-aim. You've got 4 down. Your teammates are all going to be semi-aware of where they are. You don't really need to aggress too much. Now, if you were already down in blue by the time you got 4 down, pushing through to middle would have been the great play. But the fact is, you're here as they spawn here. So by the time they get to there, you meet them, and it's a little bit of a hash at that point. So yeah, you read it right. I just don't think you trusted yourself enough. So I would say play a little bit more patient at that position. Okay, we see 2 people. I'm hearing great comms from you saying I should have held that, so at least we're learning from our mistakes. Nice, hold a pre-aim because they're likely to chow. And you notice your teammates are still spawning behind you, which means the enemy team are still coming from the front area. Okay, now your teammates just spawn behind you, which means the enemy team are probably going to be sort of more focused throughout the middle. And any kills you get will spawn them to the other side of the pool. Okay. We are seeing people here. Now, I'm going to rewind this back a bit, maybe just because it's in your peripheral, but there's a player there, and another player there, and another, well, that's maybe 2 players there, to be fair. So you should be fully aware that there's people from your right, but perhaps you just miss it because you're so locked in on that vent. But there's also another massive mistake I'm seeing we make here is the trophies not being utilized, nor are your frags and stuns. Now, you're not on the point here. Your teammate is in the corner, so you have the flexibility to move away. You don't have to be here. Your teammates have sort of got the back, so you can be that first aggressor. Now, if this were me, if I was in this position, I am most definitely throwing a stun out into this area here, or a nade just to stop the push initially happening. That and get your trophy down, and you're absolutely fine. So again, it's the use of the utility that we seem to be missing. But as far as the line of sight and challenging this guy is, I really don't mind it. The only thing I don't like is that your teammates just spawn in on the left here, which is sort of back here, which means you know the enemy team are going to be coming from this way, whether they spawn here or back here, which is where we've just spawned. You're going to get action from the right, and we're very, very open from the right. Unless you're fully stair glitching on this point, I don't think you're covered from there. So yeah, that's all I'd say on that. But we eventually die. It is what it is. And we spawn in the back. Now, there's two ways we can approach this next hill, and I'm intrigued to see how we do it. So you can either, completely rush front, you can go out, or you can hop up there, and you can just absolutely bully them out from the front, because chances are they've got someone watching this area, and they've got someone watching this area. So if you just bully out as a 4-man, you can kill the 2 people on here and take the point over. That, or you bully out middle and go around that way, or you bully around the left and bully out this player here. In any way, in any situation, you need to have the numbers on the objective as to where you're going, not the actual hill itself, but you need to have the majority of numbers when you do approach an area here. So, first of all, you're fairly split. You've got one player stuck in scrap, you've got one player going around the far left-hand side, and then you've got a player who's playing a little bit further forward than you, playing the middle. You're completely split. Trades are going to be difficult. And you need to be pushing together at some point. Now, it's not your fault specifically, but yeah. So you see your teammate just die here. You can see exactly where they are on the red dot. And yeah, you do lose a fair gunfight here. Like, you tax dance a little bit too late and you're not quite aimed at the bottom here. But all you needed to do, I'm going to say this repeatedly so it gets in your head, stun nade. You don't have to save it for the hills. If you know there's an enemy there and you want to guarantee a gunfight, this is a massive rotation for a money hill. When I say money, I mean a hill that's guaranteed to get you a lot of points, because the spawns are so sticky here and they're really easy to control. You want to try and use what you can. Throw a stun, throw a nade. You can either throw it just straight into it, or if you bounce it against this wall, it'll pretty much land on the head. So yeah, use that. You don't have to save it for just the objective itself. Rotating and using it effectively and rotating is a massive thing to do as well. That's fine. We die and spawn. We spawn middle? Okay, we spawn middle. Now, if you've watched the guys, that probably tells you that there's someone P2, back here, probably near the teammate, and there's someone deep in their spawn blocking, which we know because the player on our team is challenging that guy. So if this were me, if I was making this choice right here, because there's so long left on the hill, I'm trying to get that back spawn. I'm instantly going to help out that teammate on the left there, whether it's a long route through P4, or it's trying to quickly engage in the player in white who just killed us, and then challenge that player secondly. Fortunately, teammate dies. You've learned from your mistakes, you're checking the area again. Now, you've still got a stun and a nade, and you seem to be really cautious as to where they might be, but we're not using the utility to our advantage. I don't mind that push. I think you do need the aggression through white, at least to get that back spawn, but it's the way we're doing it, which I feel like is a little bit wrong. Now, again, I don't really like this split. You have the opportunity of going, so at the moment you've got 2 and 2 this way, so you've got a double approach on the stairs, and you've got a teammate sort of hitting the middle here, so you're going for like a 2-2 approach here, 2 middle, 2 stairs, and it makes it quite easy pickings. The reason for that is because when you're pushing through this area here, you're not entirely sure where the enemy could be. They could be all the way back here, they could be sat, I'm going to rewind this, they could be sat in that corner, they could be sat behind the plant pot, they could be sat all the way back here, they could be sat in this tight corner here, they could be sat all the way back there. You have really no info, especially if we're not using our stuns and nades, where the enemy is going to be here. So it's really easy for them to get a 2-piece if they wanted to. They could be sat in a real horrible off angle all the way here, watching this line of sight, and as soon as you run to the hill, yeah, you might think this is clear, but as soon as you do that, you're then shot in the back, and it's a really easy way to get 2-pieced. So in this position, what I'd like to do is Again, you want to throw a nade and a stun over to this area here, just to, get rid of their trophies, because they probably do have them. If they don't have them, then great, you've stunned and naded someone. But worst case scenario, you're destroying at least one trophy with your 2 throwables, because it only takes 2 to kill a trophy nowadays. But I'd have backed up my team there. I'd have thrown have a trophy here, plant a trophy sort of on the stairs to protect you from their nades and stuns, and then you can jump up onto the railings outer, and you literally, there's only so many places they can be on the hill, whereas over here, as I say, there was like 5 or 6 places they could be, or they could be sat in the depths, so there's so many places they could be here, and you're not going to be sure about it. However, on the hill, they're either going to be, behind the bar, just over the hop up, on this little plant bit here, so there's so many easy ways you can check the spot, and you can do so whilst maintaining a heady along the railing. So it's a much easier push, especially when there's 3 of you there, which there could be if you decided to go this route. So personally, without seeing what comes next, that would be my initial takes on this. Yeah, you're being stair glitch, that's rough. But again, we know someone's there because we're playing that cautious approach. Your teammate's just died from... Did your teammate die? So you get naded. Your teammate runs back, so your teammate decides to just, cut his losses and run away. But again, someone's there. You're not using your stuns and nades. I think that's something that is going to be obviously going to be at the end of this video. Okay, we need to go new. The next, I would have even argued you would go new before you die there. P4 is such a money hill. Oh, that's the wrong P4. I'm on absolute Mars. These are the wrong hills. Any case, P4 is here. This is such an easy hill to hold, because as soon as you get them spawning back here, which they probably are going to do based on where we are currently, all they can really do is run down middle or hit this long alley here. So which means you only really need a player here watching this long line of sight on this disgusting heady, arguably the best heady in the game, because you can adjust it to see how much of a head you want available. And all you need is a couple people donated to, focus on holding middle, and you win that gunfight and you win that hill. And it's an easy 60-second hill. And you know what, even if you give it the 20 seconds, you're back in the game. So I want to see you absolutely beeline, even if you go through vent and through you to the hill, but I want to see you absolutely beeline to that hill no matter what we do from this point here. The worst mistake you can make from this point on, is to challenge the old hill. Promise you. Great. We've won 10 seconds of scrap. They're going to be spawning in the back. You've got a teammate sort of middle, so he's probably going to be there. But you've got to be aware, there's a lot of enemies dead. You've got, a teammate here. I'm going to undo these. Let's say your teammate, in the world's best situation, he's on the hill, ready for a gunfight. You've then got a teammate literally next to you. You've got a teammate who's probably just spawned in, and all 3 of them, or probably all 4 of them now they've died, are either spawning back here or on the way to the hill already. So they're either running this way or they've got control of mid. This situation is not good. You can see how much map control you have and how honed in on the new hill the enemies are going to be. What's the first thing that you do when you spawn in on hardpoint, or what you should do when you spawn in on hardpoint? Let's look at how long's left on the current hill. If the enemy are doing that, going to spawn in, see there's barely any time left on the hill, and they're going to absolutely beeline it to the new hill, which means that you've got no map control of middle, you've got no map control of left hand side. You've got one teammate, but they're going to be completely singled out on the hill, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get a decent amount of hill time on this next hill. That's my prediction. I might be wrong. If we do a really good break, I will be wrong, but let's see how this plays out. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Teammates are getting kills, and we are pushing through that deep hand side here. So your teammates push right, which means the enemy are going to be speed spawning likely office. Bad time in there. Okay, your teammates. Okay. You need to play slower. You are making all the right reads, just not waiting long enough. You know that's where they're going to be coming from because your teammates pushed out that left hand side, and now we know the enemy are going to be spawning where you know, sort of P3 because your teammates have just spawned office. Massive kills from your teammates. You've got one front, one behind you. Let's see you're ready. Okay. That might be a little bit of awareness lacking. So you can see there's, teammate gets 2 kills here. You can still see a red dot on your left. And you know for a fact your teammate wasn't shooting them because of where your teammate's looking. So yeah, let's pause it. There's a red dot just here and your teammate's looking here. You can definitely tell your teammate did not just kill the person who shot. And as a result, you know that person's there. So as soon as you kill this guy, you need to be very much aware. You need to spin around or at least take cover from the guy behind you. Okay, so we spawn back here. You are getting a little bit of relief from your teammates getting kills on the hill. Again, let's see some nade throwage. You just said you knew one was behind you, so I'm not going to critique that too much. If there's one rule I will give anyone on 6-star hardpoint is for P3 and P4, if you spawn in with 30 seconds or left, rotate to the new hill as a team and get set up. That's a hard play. Yeah, I would have died there as well. I'd have probably looked for that, but I wouldn't have checked that corner. But that's a good play out of them. Playing nice and cruddy there. And we're still spawning here, which is a good sign. Now, because we're spawning P2, it tends to mean that the enemy are... Oh, I've lost my pen. Because we spawn P2, it tends to mean an enemy's got a little bit more aggressive towards this hand side. Otherwise, you'd have just spawned back here. So that tells you that the pool is completely free. You don't really need to check too much the pool, but be wary that you might have someone pinching maybe around here, or they might be pushed up into here. So just be very careful about your blue and you when you do push the time here. Yeah, let's see how this plays. Nice, you're getting the kills. Nice, I'm seeing a nade stun. Nade thrown, sorry, I like that. Nice. Again, use your stun, I like that. Okay, and we're cycling back to the new hill. This is a good choice. This is a very good example of a good choice. I would, yeah. Nice. Just wait, you're weak. Juke them a bit, just play really annoying. So you've got someone who's just run right, and you've got to assume someone's still on the point somewhere. I actually don't mind this. Okay, you're the last alive. Get a kill and hide. Yeah, nice, I don't mind this at all. Okay, we want to be trying to get these spawns, and we've done that because they're not blocking. So that's a real nice play. You rotated through middle, your teammate spawned P3, which is exactly what you want to happen. Good pick. Take cover, throw your trophy. See, as soon as you swap to the sub, well, I'm seeing very good use of utilities. Now, the enemy team throughout this whole hill, whilst you're pushed up this far, are going to be spawning back here. So they're going to be very prone to either run through middle to the new hill or take a little bit of a route here. So what I would do in this situation, the choice I would make here, is to cut them off. So I'm either, you clearly run to middle, so you're clearly trying to cut them off here. Even if you don't see someone here, I'd love to see you push a statue here, double check there's not anyone run down this area here, and then just sort of, play for a freebie here, because they're not going to expect you to read that push. Okay, you're losing this 9 times out of 10 if they're pre-aiming this. You're not on a head glitch, you're lying down, which just means, they can shoot your whole body. Okay, we're lingering for too long. So we've just shot a fair amount of bullets there. We're still in the same place, we're still in the same place, we're still in the same place, and you've been traded. I say traded, you didn't kill anyone, but as soon as you shoot there, you know for a fact you're going to have weight off from the old hill. You need to be running back to the hill. Your teammates need help on the old hill as well. You need to be running back. As soon as you're reloaded, you need to be getting back to dodge, or commit yourself to something. But we linger way too long there. Personally, I don't think playing that cut was a good idea in the first place. I think it was a bad position to be in because it was a long line of sight and you were laying down rather than being on a head glitch. I'm not sure if we meant to do that. I'm hoping not. I'm going to assume we didn't mean to do that. Okay, it's done a nade. I don't mind that whatsoever. Nice, now we play alive. We're weak. You've been a distraction. They're not going to spawn there because you're there. We need to go to new. Give it up. You've already given them so much time on this. They're going to get 10 seconds more by the time you get there. Give it up and rotate to new. What you've done there in running through middle, breaking white, getting into the back spawn, breaking the spawn is great if you're doing that when there's 40, 50 seconds left. It's way too late to be doing it now, especially considering your teammates are on the hill. There is no reason whatsoever you should be going to the hill now. There's not long enough left. And because your teammate, I believe, this is a real shit show to be honest, excuse my French, because your teammate spawns, if we're looking at the top left here, your teammate spawns P2. As you know, when your teammate spawns P2, when P3 is up, and you're blocking here, it means the enemy, any kills you get will spawn the enemy middle. And look how close middle is to the new hill. So the fact you're back here and the enemy are spawning the enemy and your teammates just spawn back here must tell you that the enemy are going to be they're going to be very much on the new point very, very quickly. So yeah, I'd love to have seen a rotation earlier there, especially when you're playing for money hills. Now, without just remembering what the money hills are, you've got to try and remember yourself what they are and play for them early. They're the hills you know you can get a solid hold on. There's some real good power positions in the hill itself when you get there, and those are the sorts of hill you want to play really early. So P3 and P4 on this are a really great example. Another example is P5 on Karachi, even P3 on Karachi, to be fair, are really strong holds. I'm trying to think of other examples. Rio P4 is a really good money hill because it's so hard to get broken because there's so many god spots in the point. Those are the sort of hills you really need to be trying to rotate early for. As I say, you spawn in, there's less than 30 seconds left, you rotate. Okay, we die. Where do we spawn? We spawn in Narnia. Luckily, we have a streak in our back pocket. Nice, we're not boosting it. I don't mind that. Don't mind that. You were trying to see if you get it through. Yeah, we're in a real sticky situation. Nice bait. Your teammate traded you. That's perfect play. That's sort of part of your role as a sub. I'd like to see less two-dimensional play. Every time we're spawning in here, we're running straight to the front of the hill. Straight to the front of the hill, which means the enemy really are going to get used to that, and all they're going to really do is watch the front. So personally, especially considering you've just got all map control of the current hill, there's 3 down, they're going to be spawning back here. And again, they're going to be looking at how long's left on the hill. There's 25 seconds left. They're probably going to play a little bit more emphasis through the middle because the new hill is over here. So I'd like to see you take a bit of initiative and run to the new hill just to be that off-putting. You don't need to be at the old hill. You've got plenty of teammates there. And with how long's left of the map, you probably need to support the new hill when it pops. So yeah, we get to the hill. We're sort of lost. There's 10 seconds left and we're not even started to rotate, or 15 seconds left, whatever. We haven't even started to rotate to the new hill yet. And just like that, they've got all of the control of the new hill. Yeah, we've got a couple kills that they're going to spawn back in and run to it without anyone cutting them off. But what I do like about that situation is that you've got a kill and got straight back out. You've understood that you're going to get traded really quickly. So that's a real nice asset I see a lot of people lack. Oh, do we go to the striker? We go to the striker. Desperation, I see. Yeah, there's 20 seconds left. 2 down, 3 down. You know exactly where they are. Nice. You know exactly where they're coming from. Don't push it out too far. They're probably going to be coming in your pool or through white. Yeah, so we got 1 pool. Bound to happen. So what I personally don't like about this, it took a little bit too long. So you're completely open to the right. And you have, I don't mind this as an off angle, assuming your teammate there stays alive. You've got a little bit of an emphasis from the pool, sorry, not white. But as soon as that teammate dies, your main focus instantly becomes this player here. Whether you throw a nade in this space here just to top anyone really pushing close, but your main focus at this point should be the player coming up pool steps. We wait here for way too long. You wait, you know, that player to heal up potentially, but you shoot your gun. You don't have any cover once you shoot because, you know, they're literally on the stairs behind you. So yeah, I'd have liked to see you throw a nade front, turn around, kill that guy, or at least try and kill that guy first. Okay, we're at new. What do we have? We have a trophy. Let's see it put down so that we at least can hold, or stay strong against a couple of nades and stuns. I don't mind this read. Yeah, you're helping it hold. Great. Their focus seems to be all the way through middle currently. Nice movement to finesse yourself out the guy behind you. Nice two-piece. That's 3 down. They're spawning in the back. Nice. You still have a trophy that could help you massively. Lovely. Teammates on the hill. He's bumping you off. You can go now. I think you meant to slide. Gotta be honest. Because I'm not wrong, you sprint and then crouch. So I imagine we went to slide there, completely missed the slide, and then just got caught off guard. So that's a little bit of a lack of movement. I'm not sure that was a decision-making thing. I liked what you were doing there. You're being a little bit ratty in the vents with a really powerful sub up close. So I really like that. Okay, I'm not sure why we're taking so long to throw our studs and nades. So as long as your teammate's not in the hill, you can throw both your stun and nade now. It will get them weak. It will stun them. Your teammates are doing the exact same. But we throw our stun, but we don't use our nade. I imagine that's pressure. But yeah, you can be using your stun and nade from way back. Okay, so let's take a step back. So first things first, I'm going to say what is good. Your shots generally seem absolutely fine. So that's a big tick from you there. Your movement seems pretty good for the most time. Obviously, there was a little bit of a crap slide in vent, but that happens to the best of us. It's in the vent, it's a little bit difficult. But your reading of the play and the map is also really good. Your knowledge of spawns seems to be better. So your decision to watch certain areas are great. So I'm going to give you a thumbs up for those decisions you're making. However, we are not playing patient enough. You need to trust those thoughts that you're having and your reads, because you are making the right reads. You're just not waiting too long. So if you ever find yourself going forward, if you ever find yourself holding an angle and you haven't seen anyone, unless it's for literally a minute, just hold an angle, persevere a little bit, especially in situations where your team has the whole hill covered. You don't need to play that aggressive role. Just wait a little bit. You'll get the kills. They'll just come to you, especially when you're making the right reads, which from this, I'm seeing you are. Now, your comms also seem pretty good. You sort of know what you're doing. Now, there are 2 massive things which are going to benefit you, especially when you're playing hardpoint. The first thing is be very conscious when you need to rotate early. You have so many occasions on this map where you're challenging a hold and you're not putting enough pressure on the new hill anywhere near early enough. As a rule of thumb, for money hills, and I've listed them, but you guys, if you want to work out what money hills are yourself and hills that you can guarantee 60 on, just have a think to yourself when you're loading into the map, okay, what hills do we want to focus on, because they're really easy to hold, and play for them early. Rotate at 30 seconds when you spawn in, and rotate for them really early and hold a real nice power position. Because you know spawns, you can then sit between the new hill and where they're spawning from the old hill and just cut them off and be a real pain in the ass, and just allow your teammates to get all the hill time at old, because the enemy team are going to be so focused on clearing you out of new. So yeah, although you feel like rotating early leaves your teammates, out there on a fishing line at old, that's not strictly true, because you're going to be a massive diversion when they try and rotate, and they're going to be very much focused on you, because they're going to be screaming, he's already rotating, quickly, we need to get to new. So that's a massive thing. And also knowing which ways to rotate as well. I've highlighted a couple of things here, but I would recommend watching my hardpoint guides, not necessarily the spawn guides, but my other hardpoint guides in ways you can rotate to hills to apply pressure properly. Because a lot of times we just challenge in the same area here and we don't quite apply the pressure we need. But the main thing I want to say, and it got better when you use the sub, so I don't know whether it's because you're using fast hands with the sub and you're not with the AR, so you don't feel confident, but you could have won so many more gunfights and made so much more map progression up the hill when you're using your stuns and nades. You just don't use it enough. Your trophy isn't being used anywhere near enough as well, especially with an AR. And yeah, I think those are the 2 poorer decisions you're making in the game. Not rotating early enough, not taking the right route when you're rotating to play the cuts off the enemy's spawn currently, and then not using your utility anywhere near enough. I think if you fix those up and you really focus on that within the next 10, 20 games you play, you're going to be a great gamer, especially on hardpoint. Obviously, Control and S&D are different ball games. But yeah, your diamond currently, I could definitely foresee. I think this is a hard season, but I definitely foresee you get into that D3 mag, potentially Crim 1. There are a lot we need to work on for that. The difference between diamond and Crim tends to be the way you maneuver around the map and the decisions you do make, and not much technical ability. Obviously, you have people who are just absolutely cracked, but I can definitely see hitting low Crim. The season's a little bit hard because the player base isn't quite there, but yeah, Crim 1 I think is a push, but definitely high diamond. And I think when Black Ops 6 drops, you'd definitely be able to hit Crim or whatever the equivalent is at that point. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any feedback to me or to the player, leave it down in the description down below, or in the comments, down below. That, as I say, join me Discord, have a chat, or you can follow me on Twitter and I'll reply to my DMs on there. So yeah, that'll do it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Ciao for now.